Fingers crossed we don't get any, but I have grass poking through. My raised bed gardens are popping up. Love it, love it, love it. I've got my fingers crossed. Everything's going good. Hey, Monica, nice to see you. Hey, Ann, nice to see you. So this is where I usually do my cooking. This is Kim's. Oh, I got to turn this off. Wait. Where's that? How do I mute this? Stop that. How do I mute that? No. Mute. We'll see if that works. Sorry, guys. I had this set up yesterday, right, Monica? I had it figured out. Monica helped me. So anyway, we'll see if that's going to work. Seemed to be working. No echo behind me. I have no idea what I think. This is where I normally cook. If I'm just doing cooking for the family, like just Ron and I. But if I'm doing major cooking, I have a big space over there. So today I figured we would do crackers and mayo. I know that they're not necessarily the healthiest of meals, but it's definitely going to be easier on your pocketbook. Maybe not you guys down south. Hey, Jan, nice to see you, sweetheart. Jan knows this corner well. What was I saying? It's going to be a rough one today, guys. Normally cook here. Not healthy food really today, but they will be savings on your pocketbook. I don't know how much you guys use mayo or eat crackers, but the thing is it's basic recipes. You can adapt it to how you want them, kind of thing. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to turn this down to the counter so you guys can see what I'm doing. I have a lag, right? Is that good? Can you see my counter? Oh, we're going to have creaky stuff. All right. Stop wiggling. I have such a bizarre setup here for this. You know, I usually have the 2 screens, so I can watch chat and stuff. Yeah, I've got this. Right. So, okay. So I'm going to show you the basic cracker recipe. You can leave them plain. You can put salt on top. I add spices into the dough itself and then brush more on top because I like crackers with flavor. So I am going to half the basic recipe. So it calls for 2 cup flour. So I'm going to use 1 cup of flour, 1/3 cup of water, 1/3 cup of oil. So I am going to use 1/3 cup of oil is 6 tablespoons of oil. So that would be 3, but I'm going to use 4 tablespoons of oil. The reason being is you still need a little bit to brush on the top. It says a 1/2 teaspoon salt. I am just going to take the salt shaker and kind of just wave it over. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda powder. 2 tablespoons spices of your choice. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon. I do go heavy on my spices. Just a heads up on that. So then it says preheat oven to 400. Let's do that. That's for the crackers. So line baking sheet with parchment. Oh, I didn't pull the parchment out. But this is the baking sheet I'm going to use. It's a monster of a sheet. But you know what? I cook. When I've got all the family over and I'm doing the disc kebabs, sheet pan meals, I use 2 of these for, you know, veggies and the meat. Parchment, there we go. Done. So now we're going to put that aside because we can. All right. So it says mix flour, salt, and baking powder. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the spices to the oil is what I'm going to do. So I have a discombobulated set of old Tupperware spoons. Hey, Andrea, nice to see you. It's home ec class. It is. Julie, the child on a budget. Yeah, sort of. My thought behind this is food banks are getting a lot more traffic than they used to. with all this crazy stuff going on in the world, more and more people will be utilizing food banks. I have contacted the local food bank here, and I'm getting together with them to get lists of things people get in food banks, etc. And I'm going to be basing it on that, plus very, very low budget stuff. So that's what I'm doing. So first of all, I've got this oil. I'm going to use canola oil. The recipe does call for olive oil. I'm using canola oil because, again, not everybody can afford olive oil. I have not tried it with margarine or butter or anything. It's something to think about. So as I said, I'm going to use 4 tablespoons, which is actually a 1/4 cup. So let's just do it that way. Whoop, it's alive. I'm just going to take my 1/4 cup measuring. And yes, I know this is for dry, but it's going to be fine. It's just going to make it easier. I have all my supplies here. I don't know about you guys, but when I have a big thing of oil, I usually keep on an ice cream pail lid in the cupboard, but I figured I didn't get a chance to wash the lid, so I did that. So I actually look like I have a clean stuff happening in my kitchen. So like I say, I use 2 tablespoons worth of spices in this mix. I am going to use garlic powder. I think actually what's going to happen is it could be a little bit less than a tablespoon. I'm going to use a teaspoon of garlic powder. And you guys are going, ooh, that's a lot of garlic powder. I like it. I'm going to use a teaspoon of basil. So there are 4 teaspoons in a tablespoon. So I'm not quite using the exact what it is. And I am going to use a tablespoon of, or a teaspoon of Parmesan cheese. You don't have to do this. You can use, I've used ranch dressing mix, of course I make my own. I've used Cajun spice, of course I make my own. Lemon pepper, garlic pepper, pepper of all kinds. And I'm just going to mix this up. I got spoons and everything ready to go. It's kind of like I'm prepared. Right. You know what? It's not just for my community. This is to help anybody who's on a tight budget for cooking. When you buy a box of crackers, I have no idea what they cost across the border, but here a box of crackers is close to $4 now for like a little box of Trix or whatever. It's a treat, right? If you can do it for a portion of the cost, why not? Why not? Okay, so that's got to sit for a little bit. I'm just going to rest that spoon across. You can't see where I put that. It's just to the side here. Can you see where my recipe is? It's just above it. All right, so that's got to sit for a little bit. The only reason I like it to sit is that way the oil gets more infused with the flavors. So mix flour, salt, and baking powder. So we need 1 cup of flour. Have my 1 cup measure. And you know what? I know darn well that I can mix it in this measuring cup. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add everything to that measuring cup. So you can see 1 cup of flour. Ta-da! I'm having fun, guys. Yeah, large clip. Like I say, I'm doing half a recipe because you guys don't want to sit here and watch me roll out for hours. Well, it's not hours. When I timed this yesterday, both recipes, start to finish, took me just under half an hour, and it was good. So I need baking powder. And of course, we're halving it, right? So that's half a teaspoon. I have a half a teaspoon right here. Nope, that's 1 teaspoon. Half a teaspoon. Again, yay for the old-fashioned Tupperwares. These are old. And I have the clip for them. I picked them up out of the drawer and half of them fell off. So, you know, it's just going to be what it is. Add salt. It calls for half teaspoon of salt is the full recipe, so it would be a quarter teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to take the salt shaker and I use pink sea salt because it's not quite as heavy on the sodium. And I'm going to go shake, shake, shake. Good. The reason being is the baking powder has salt in it, right? It's got the sodium in it. So I try and watch my sodium intake. So that's that. So we're going to need a spoon to mix this up because we want it all blended well. I know. I wish I could make it eggless mayo. The whole recipe makes 2 cups and it calls for 4 eggs. So I'm halving it, 2 eggs. Again, budget friendly. It's mayo. The reason I like it, it doesn't have all the preservatives in it, right? I go for things. I saw something where in the States you have 2,000 or a lot of items that you can add is added to your foods for preservatives, etc. Whereas in Canada, we have 400. So we have much less chemical doings in our food. People on meds, I don't know how these chemicals react to medications. So I just want to be safe, right? I don't know what's going to react to my meds, make things irritating, side effects, etc., etc. So we'll get these out of the way because I don't need those anymore. This can go to the side. When I have a dry ingredient, and if I think I'm going to be using it again, I just kind of wipe it out with a clean towel. So this has been sitting, I know it hasn't been 10 minutes. That's just my preference. I'm going to take a tablespoon and do it this way. I know it's a soup spoon, it works. The reason I am doing it this way is because we still have to have some left over to brush on the tops of the crackers. Okay, that should be enough to brush on top of the crackers. We'll see how this blends in. I mix it in first, kind of. It's kind of like pastry this way, right? You're using the fats to create pockets in what you're baking. So you get those air bubbles. I like the air bubbles. I think I could get away with one more. Okay, so we're just going to mix that in. And you can see that there's a fair bit of basil throughout that. Parmesan cheese. There's a lot sitting on the bottom. It's okay. And then we need a 1/3 cup of water. So I have this measuring cup here. Very, very faded. It's been through the dishwasher too many times. There is the 1/3 cup line. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if I'm on camera or not. Yeah, I am. No, maybe I'm not. There's a lag between this and the YouTube, right? So I pulled a measuring cup of water. This is just my tap water. I'm very fortunate that in Manitoba, our drinking water is relatively safe. As safe as drinking water can be. Like there's, where our drinking water comes from, no raw sewage or anything is pumped into that area. Unfortunately, not like you guys down south. Okay, that's the line I need, so I'm going to pour a little bit back. And we got it. So that goes in there. This is a really hard recipe, guys. I don't know. Now we're going to mix it up. And it's going to form a dough. Now, with this dough, if you put in, you know, all the oil and then use additional oil for brushing, I know for a fact that it's not going to be sticky. It rolls out like a charm. Oop, let's throw it on the counter. Because we can. I can really smell the garlic. I use these crackers instead of bread a lot of times if I'm making like a egg salad or chicken salad or tuna salad, whatever. I will put it either on peppers or crackers so I don't have quite as much bread. And I don't know how to make this gluten-free either. I know that I haven't played with rice crackers, and I've wanted to. Like I say, I've also wanted to try it with coconut oil and various other oils. So we're going to pull that out now. We just want to mix it. We don't want it to be too, and we don't really need to knead it. It's a little stickier than normal. You can put a bit of flour on your counter if you so desire. I think I'm going to try rolling it as is because I don't normally add any additional flour. So you do need a knife. We're going to cut it in half. And we're going to roll out each portion. Am I on screen? Please tell me I'm on screen. Hey, Tina, nice to see you. Hey, to anybody I've missed, this is not my normal doing, but it's going to be my normal doing. So now we're going to roll this out. Now, if you do not have a rolling pin, yes, I am very fortunate that I have a husband that made me this beautiful rolling pin. You can always use a bottle. The thing is, it's a beer bottle. Yeah, I know, whatever. It's the only bottle I had anywhere, which is really weird. I don't have soft drinks, whatever. I do have soy sauce bottle, but they're plastic now. And I do prefer glass or whatever to roll it out. So you make sure you take the labels off, wash it really good before you've got it touching your food. I'm going to now have to wash my hands because that was out in the shop, of course. So, sorry guys, you got running water. I hope I'm not making anybody have to pee. So, anyway, you can use a bottle. As I say, I am trying to gear this to people who may not have all the gadgets that I'm fortunate enough to have because I have been cooking forever and whatever. So we're just going to roll this into about that size for now. Now I'm going to cut it in 8 pieces. Am I on screen? I am. Woo-hoo! Go me. So now here's the thing. You could roll it out into the pan and make it into nice little squares. You could roll it nice and big and cut it into squares and move it over. I do it this way because I don't care what my crackers look like. Get them get eaten. You know? Seriously. Okay. So now I've got each of these. Make a little ball out of it. And again, I'm going to roll it really, really, really thin. Really thin. Let's move this stuff out of the way. Am I on screen? Yeah. We want it as thin as we can get it. I used to use my pasta machine, but I found that cranking it really irritates my wrist. There we go. We've got a really lovely thin, you know, you can see through it almost in some places. You don't want them too thick. And you do that with the entire batch. Now, you may not want crackers this size. Cut each piece in half and make smaller crackers. It just means you're going to be spending more time rolling as well. But when you've got a cracker this size, you know, you can, and I'm just putting them on the parchment on the pan. So as I say, you could cut them into smaller pieces. I don't bother. Oh, a little bit sticky. I don't normally get that, so I didn't put quite as much oil as I normally do, which is fine. I don't need all that fat in my food. Why are you screaming? Stop that. And I can get, because we'll have 16 crackers out of this. They take no time to make, really. This is the longest part of them, rolling them out. Rolling them out. It was funny because I had been trying to figure out the cameras and everything. Monica was a big help to me yesterday. I really appreciate that, Monica. That was so nice of you. But my grandson and his partner, his girlfriend, were here. So she was like, "Can I help you? Can I help?" And it's like, you know what? I got to time this. But she's such a sweetheart. She sat and kept me company while I was doing my blathering. So as I said, you roll them out, you do them as thin as you can. If you don't get them quite as thin as I do, that's fine. You may need to leave them in the oven a little bit longer. Oh, see, sticky, sticky, sticky. So maybe I should have just done the oil, the right amount of oil, and then, you know, poured some new oil to brush it. I just remember doing this many times. I thought I would start a cracker company way back when, and decided that I couldn't because of my wrists. That and the fact that they wanted me to have an industrial kitchen. Well, I don't have access to a licensed industrial kitchen. So I, yeah, they're not the same size. Doesn't matter. They all get eaten the way they are. Hey, Zenjen and Jen, Kitty Jen. Nice to see you guys. So anyway, I was thinking that I would start up a company and sell them at farmers markets, because everybody, I've had all my neighbors were taste testing my crackers. I had a trucking company where my girlfriend worked was testing them for me, and you know, the various flavors, and everybody had a thumbs up for it. So, but if I have company and make like a cheese ball or things like that, or a cheese plate, you know, I like having these naturally shaped beasts instead of, I gotta be different, guys. Just gotta be different. I will show you. They don't spread. They will puff up just slightly because of the baking powder. But they really do not spread. Ooh, look at this little guy. I wish I could pass them around. Jean, that'd be awesome. This recipe that I did here has garlic, basil, and Parmesan cheese mixed into the dough. And then I've got some oil left over to brush on top. And I did half of the recipe that's posted down below in the description box. Yeah, pretty brutal. Oh, this is big. I'm going to cut it wide. I ripped it in half. Like I said, you can roll it straight into the pan and then cut squares if you so desire. That's like work for me. I find it much easier just to make these little blurby things on my counter. And that's it. Well, I folded because didn't want to lie down nice. All right, this is the last one. That didn't take very long. I'm pretty happy. I'm sure you guys are too, because rolling dough is, you know, not the most exciting thing in the world to watch. Oh, that's the word, but it's okay. So I'm just gonna smush up this dough. That can go in the garbage bin. Just put here for now. Out of the way. So this is my pan of crackers. Now it's going to go in the oven for 10 minutes. And yeah, see, I got holes in it. It's okay. Doesn't matter, guys. Seriously, they're like little flatbreads. So they're going to go in the oven for 10 minutes. We're going to test one to see how crisp it is. And they may have to go back in the oven with the oven turned off for another 10 minutes. So my oven's right there. Woohoo! Look, we just made crackers. I'm happy. Are you guys happy? That's a really big sheet pan. Yes, it is. I'm just doing the one sheet. When I make the full batch, I do use both sheets that I have. But I figured half a batch, because I made a batch yesterday. Not that I have any left, because the kids were here. They took whatever. They took them home. So, okay, so as I say, oh, I didn't put the topping on. See? Yeah, stop. We'll pull those back up. Quick. Wasn't thinking, guys, sorry. Want to move this. I've got the oil. Now, I have a pastry brush, but not everybody has a pastry brush, right? So I'm just going to dip my spoon in, and I'm just going to rub the back of the spoon on the crackers, just like that. Right? Works just fine. Of course, the pastry brush will pick up more of the seasonings in there, but there's still a lot of seasonings in the middle of the cracker. The nice thing with the crackers being, oh, I think I probably did that twice. That's okay. Because there are no eggs or real perishable kind of things in the cracker dough, this leftover oil I can use for, I brush it on bread when I make grilled cheese sandwiches. There we go. Now I'm going to put it back in the oven. Much better. Can you see that? Did you guys see that? I did it. I did it. So now into the oven, set the timer, 10 minutes, 400 degrees. There has to be some sort of glitch, right? Kim has to have some sort of glitch. Things can't just go totally ticky-boo. So although they're in the oven, we are going to make the mayo. And it's an interesting mayo because it's a cooked mayo. The recipe is down below. This was actually my girlfriend's recipe for mayo. She had foster child with varying abilities, and in order for his behaviors to be better than, sorry, didn't mean to wipe my nose. Nose is running today. Things are melting. Anyway, for his behaviors to be good, she made darn near everything from scratch because she found that that really, really helped with his behaviors. Now my size of crackers too. Oh, sorry, Jen. I don't know how to do them gluten-free. I don't know how to do them gluten-free. But anyway, because of, so she watched all the dyes, all the preservatives, everything, and it really did help with his behaviors. So this is her recipe. We do it right in the pot. So again, we're going to half the recipe. So I'm going to use 1 heaping tablespoon of flour, 1 teaspoon of dry mustard. This calls for half a cup of sugar for the whole recipe. I cut the sugar back in half already, so I'm going to use the quarter cup, so that's going to be 2 tablespoons of sugar. Calls for a teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to wave the salt over it again. 1 3/4 cups of water, so that is 3/4 cups plus 2 tablespoons, because there are 4 tablespoons in a quarter cup, right? So that's that. 4 eggs. I'm going to use 2 eggs, quarter cup vinegar. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of vinegar, and it calls for 2 teaspoons of butter at the very end. You mix it in, and what am I saying here? It's 1 teaspoon butter. Okay, so we're going to mix the dry ingredients in here. I have my tablespoon. I have my flour. This is just an all-purpose flour. I buy it in the large bags and put it in other containers. So I need 1 heaping tablespoon. You don't want it to be like 2 tablespoons. You want it like this. Can you see that? Like that. So basically, aside from the eggs, this doesn't cost much of anything. Unless you have to buy the mustard, etc. I am lucky that I always have this stuff on hand because I make a lot of my own spice mixes. So 2 teaspoons, we're using 1 teaspoon of dry mustard. This is the teaspoon. It says 1 teaspoon, that's half a teaspoon. Okay. Teaspoon of dry mustard, 2 tablespoons of sugar. Again, look at this old Tupperware container. Woohoo! Showing my age. Yeah, ma'am. So 2 tablespoons of sugar. Because I found the other quite sweet. And I know she cut the sugar back as well for her son, her foster son. 1 teaspoon salt. Here we go. Salt shaker, 1, 2, 3. That's a half teaspoon of salt. Really. 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons water. So again, measuring cups. And yeah, I might be Canadian, but we still bake and cook in standard, or I do anyway. So that, and then 2 tablespoons. Two tablespoons of water, 2 eggs. Now I usually get farm eggs and put them in other containers. So these are free-run eggs, free-range eggs. So the yolks are pretty yellow. So this mayo is going to be more on the yellowy side than on the white side. I haven't tried this with all egg white either. There for now. Oh, that's lots of cleaning. Lots of cleaning. It's okay. 2 eggs. Normally I pour them straight into the, one at a time, into the pot. But I was very trustworthy of these ones today. Because, sometimes you get farm eggs and you get that little drop of blood, or, just because. So those go in. And we need a 1/4 cup of vinegar, which is 2 tablespoons. So we'll grab that tablespoon back. I keep my vinegar in one of these because we add it to soups and things. Nice to see you. We are making cooked mayo. Yeah, I do too. This entire cupboard right in front of me here, full of seasonings, spices. So we need 1 tablespoon because we're having the recipe. Now, you can use a spoon, a fork, whatever to mix this up. I am fortunate enough that I have a small whisk, so I am going to use that. And I'm going to mix it up. And we're going to get it as smooth as possible because we don't want any lumpy things in our mayo. That's just disconcerting. Very, very, very disconcerting. And this mayo, I have used it, like I say, for sandwiches. I have a recipe for what we call snuggle dogs. You could call them pigs in a blanket. It calls for a cup of mayo. I use it to make homemade Thousand Island dressing. I use it when I make my ranch dressing. I use it for anything you would use mayo for. All right, so now we're going to put it over on the stove. Let's see if I can do this. There's my stove. Can we see? Are we seeing the stove? Yeah, there we go. And you can see my other screen, maybe down a little bit. Sorry, guys. I'm really hoping I'm not making anybody seasick. There. So this is an induction stove. Not good if somebody has a pacemaker because it runs on magnets. And you have to have a certain size to fit where the magnets are. And I have to cook it on a low heat, so I put it on 4. High on this is a 9. For some reason, yeah, it's a newer stove. My lowest setting right now is 4. And you want to make sure that you're stirring this fairly often. So the crackers are going to be coming out right away. I've got lots of clean stuff over here still. Woo! Go me. I didn't know, I knew what I needed, but I pulled it all out because it was just easier this morning. Because we have that lovely time change. I can't show you into that. I don't know what you see. 45 seconds left on the... This is my dream stove, guys. I have been cooking for so long. This is the second new stove that I have bought. I've always had second-hand stoves. And with doing Christmas dinners and things with the grandkids, and now we got partners, I needed something that was a bigger stove. So I've got the double oven. Especially when I'm doing like the brunches. Thank you, Jan. Ron was there and she did her family brunch. And so he came home going, you have to do these family brunches. It's like, no. So anyway, now I do family brunches. Not as often as Jan does. But I have to do I spend over 2 hours making the red crepes. All right, so those look pretty good. We're going to test to see how crunchy they are. Well, that's on the floor. That can stay there. I'll grab another one. We're going to take a little one and picks up fine, but it's still a little flexible. So I'm going to turn the oven off, and I'm going to put them back in for 10 minutes. I'm going to get a different pot. That one's on the floor. So that's going to go in for 10 minutes. And that should make them that little bit crisper. So let's make sure this is being stirred. Takes a bit of time for that to thicken. And you cook it until it's the consistency of mayo or whatever you like. So, yeah. Hey, Chris, nice to see you. And Cindy, So while my grandson and his girlfriend were here yesterday, he was out in the shop playing with Ron, and she was in here watching me do this. And they had asked me to do a big painting for over their fireplace. They just rented this new um, place, and it's got a fireplace. Not that they want to use the fireplace, but they've got a big space over it. And the previous tenant had put like 50 screw holes in that wall. So they wanted something to cover up all the holes in the wall. But, I said, guys, I haven't painted for a while. I don't know your style, your taste, whatever. And she's wanted to come and play with me for quite a while. So I showed her those watercolor doodles that we've been doing. And I had a big canvas. So we did we put all the watercolors on the canvas yesterday. She's never used them before. So it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. We had a blast. But of course, you have to spatter, right? And I know you guys have heard me talk about my poor computer monitor being covered in big spatters and things. Well, she ended up washing walls for me, and the floor, and the baseboards, and I laughed, and Ed goes, I can hear your brain. I can hear what you're saying to me in your brain, sweetheart. And she's laughing, and she's going, no. It was fun. We had a lot of fun. I really liked having somebody to play with yesterday. And I made a pierogi casserole for supper. So that was fast, simple, easy cleanup. So they took home mayo and crackers, and she asked me if I wanted to go strawberry picking with her this year. And I said, sure. What are you going to do with the strawberries? And I said, are you going to make jam? She said, yeah, I'd like to make strawberry jam. It's my favorite. And I said, really? Have you ever had cherry jam? Because I always make cherry jam and send it with that boy. He's not a boy, he's a young man, 6'2". He's still my baby. Anyway, so she wanted to make jam, and I asked, was it cherry jam? And he's never shared it with her. So I don't know that I've sent some home with him while they've been together or not, but even still, she'd never had cherry jam. So I had cherries down in the freezer. So I said, okay, I'll show you how to make jam. And she said, sure. So we made a batch of cherry jam, and I sent all that home with her and him. Gotta shop at Grammy's. I don't know if you guys are like that with your grandkids, but oh, she's wonderful. She is absolutely fabulous. His is much more important than yours. What are you talking about, honey? I missed something here. Oh, your cat. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. They are for murdered and missing Indigenous women. And these ones actually have the handprint on them for voices that are no longer heard because they no longer have voices. That's another one of my whatever. Especially, since that young girl was found outside her reservation, dismembered and in trash bags, 14 years old, baby house, like. And then there was just another one here as well. Like, I don't know who's doing this to our kids, but they deserve everything that anybody else gives to them. Like, seriously? Whatever. It's just sad. Very sad. Very sad. You'd love to come hang out with me. That'd be cool. Yeah, it would be fun to have people to play with. I have a neighbor who paints. We have totally different tastes. She's a wonderful lady. Um, her basement doesn't have room for me, and my basement doesn't have room for her. This young lady that was here yesterday, she says, I will help you arrange this and sort this out. And I just might take her up on it. The cool thing is that she comes and helps me clean up. I can send so much stuff home with her. Woo-hoo! Yes, ma'am. That'd be so cool. So yeah, she took the big canvas, so that's out of my space. Um, so of course I gave her some markers and a white gel pen and a black gel pen so she could play with it when she got home because she was just itching to doodle on it already. Yeah, it's fun. Definitely fun. Of course, they come and play canasta, and they have a roommate. He's my grandson's best friend. They're sharing this new house that they're renting. So that's kind of cool. But he wants to come and play canasta as well. So it's growing. It's growing. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's getting there. I don't know how well you can see it. But it is definitely starting to thicken. Yeah, stop whining. It's back. This thing whines when you take the pots off the stove. Also with this stove, I have a lot of pots that don't work on it anymore because of it being induction instead of the coils. So I bought a metal plate that I can use on it so I can use those pots. Not that I use them anymore because, they're like my restaurant pots. One's a 15 quart and one's a 24 quart. I don't make that size batches of soup and chili anymore as a rule. But they're good pots and I don't want to get rid of them. Yeah. You know how it is. This is just about done. And those crackers are just about ready to come out. So really, how long have we been on? I don't even know how long we've been on. What does it say? 48 minutes. 48 minutes. This is what I did yesterday too. While the crackers were in the oven, I did the mayo. And then, so this makes about 1 cup of mayo. We'll pour it into a measuring cup. It'll cool off easier in the measuring cup. Oh, the other thing I like to do with this, I didn't put it on the recipe. We don't use mayo as much as we use Miracle Whip. I don't know if you guys have Miracle Whip. I'm assuming you do. It's a US product. I put cayenne in it because, ouch, that's hot. I staggered myself. Don't stagger yourself. So I put cayenne in it, so it's got that little bit of more zip than mayo does. And again, like I say, I don't add the salt. Eggs have a fair bit of natural sodium, as does flour. Okay, this is, I'm going to put that on simmer. I do have a simmer level on my stove. Okay, I wasn't watching, so now I've got some golden crackers, which is perfectly fine. Crackers are supposed to be kind of golden. This is the one we looked at before. You can see how golden it is. It's already got a crack in it. We'll try this one. Not bad. Once they cool, they'll be that little bit more crisp. And they look like I didn't roll them as thin as I normally would. This is just about ready. Now that I'm stirring it all the time, we can put that up to the 4. The thing is, the reason you're stirring it all the time is you don't want the eggs to cook in lumps. So it's kind of like an enhanced white sauce almost. But it works just as good as mayo does. So it needs just a little bit of thickening. What am I missing? What am I missing? Okay, Chris, thanks for popping in. Nice to see you. And it will thicken a little bit more as it cools. I know when I was making it more often, way back, I would use it in potato salads and things. Because I don't know about you guys, but potato salads take an awful lot of mayo. Pasta salads as well, because by the next day it's almost like concrete because it's so dry. So when you're paying, I think, a medium-sized jar of Miracle Whip here, I got it at Costco and it was still $7.99. Like, you know, this didn't cost me $7.99. Okay, we're gonna put it off because you just boiling like crazy. Okay. So it's a nice, okay, let's turn the camera this way. Can we see this? And it is going to cool and thicken that a little bit more. Let's move you. We'll just put you on the sink for now. It's big enough that I can put it across my sink and not worry. I have a 1-cup measuring cup. I just used that for water. While we were playing, I will shake off. You know, as I say, you could use a spoon for this, whatever. I'm just lucky to have a nice little whisk. My big whisk is too big. We'll just do this. All right. Okay, so it's a little bit more than a cup. Get to it depends on the size of your eggs. So that would probably be 1 1/4 cups. 2 eggs. And I know that if you do like a raw mayo, that's an awful lot of oil. Now this also needs a teaspoon of butter. And that little spoon, this is a teaspoon. Just gonna go like this. And I don't care that it's not full. That's gonna be hard to stir. I should have done this in the pot. Don't do as I do. Yeah, I definitely should have done that in the pot because this is really hard to stir. Yeah. So yeah, once it's cooled, like I say though, you know, it's more yellow than the white that we're used to. But that's fine. It's fine. So when it cools, I can put it in the fridge and use it for sandwiches. I just want to put the butter back. Butter back. All right. So let's taste it. Much better without all that sugar. And I didn't put the cayenne in either. You know, I like it with the zip. I'm going to grab a different spoon. So normally I would do this in the pot. But because I'm on stream, I'm a little bit, it's been a long time since I've taught cooking, guys. You are my test run today. Very hot. All right, I'm gonna let that cool. I'm gonna take this cracker I broke. Just punchy. Has nice flavor. And again, it's thick enough that I could use it for dipping. I could put cheese on it. I could put chicken salad or whatever on it. So there you have it. Crackers and mayonnaise. And I'm eating a cracker. Oh, thanks, Kevin. New kind of stream. Hey, Brenda. Olive oil. Oh, yeah, it's really good, but I'm doing frugal cooking. So thanks, guys, for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Big hugs. And if you try it, you know, try half a recipe. Don't do the whole recipe. Recipes are below in the description box. And big hugs to each and every one of you. Canadians, elbows up. Big hugs. Bye now.